Okay, so we knew the bloodline wasn't gonna be over, but I ain't gonna lie. If I would have said that, I would have expected this to be the route. I was like, Solo decided to take that to heart when Roman said that basically he was like the next in line. He came out and boy, did he spike the shit out of Jay. He ain't give no care at all about blood in this whole thing like that. I was like, they showed up Tonga, and it okay. So what the weird cool thing was is that when he first came out, there really wasn't any type of pop, no pop. But then after a while, I think everybody started realizing who he was, even if they didn't know who he was. Cause then you just started being like, holy shit, and all the other stuff to the point that it's basically was getting bleed. They even cut the camera at one like a little section at the point. Basically, look, I was like I feel like everybody knew like it's some bloodline guy, but I think it was just what Solo was doing. Paul Heyman looking all fearful during the whole from that time later on. Even when he was checking in on Jay, he was over here talking about like this was the tribal chief call, but there's still like it's like was it his call? Solo like being like he like it's really weird. It's like it was a tribal chief call, but it wasn't. But it was okay. So also too. Solo was telling Paul what Paul was trying to be like, hey, basically trying to take it as a champ, like, hey, we lost, we don't make excuses, but like this ain't over. But Cody got his moment, and Solo was like, hey, we tired of that bullshit. We're like, hey, yeah, you right, losing, right? So when somebody lose, there gotta be a change, right? And then that's when he looks over at Jimmy. My bad. I was like, I think I said Jay earlier. I meant Jimmy. But it's really weird that he over here coming at Jimmy losing. And yes, Jimmy do lose a lot. Yes, Jimmy you can say is a loser. But Solo hasn't won a damn match since Cena. So, but I will say that Solo doing it does seem to put a little bit more or fear that we seen like early on when like Roman wanted to do stuff and Solo was around and he had like that look on his face. This is sort of what we all I feel like got out of like this is what we thought we was getting. And I was like I did think with the bloodline that once Roman was gone and Rock at the same time too, but Roman gone that once that vacuum was there, I was like, okay, we're going to get more of Solo in some form. I was thinking that I like cause Jimmy was going to tie his hip anyway, like as his brother. I was like, we still doing the bloodline, all this other stuff. I thought that, but I thought Solo was going to go on a reckoning. I just didn't think it was going to be to his own brother. I thought it was going to be like in general, just like we gotta be out here and restoring bloodline names. So I gotta do some crazy stuff. But it is going to be sort of cool if we get like bloodline either like the Rock is taking over and it's his faction or a younger version where it's like cause I was like I think they brought in another one of Fatu in here. So I'm like, okay, so you got Solo, Tonga, and Fatu in here. Then you essentially be getting rid of like the old guard of Roman, Jay's gone, and now Jimmy's gone. Cause what happened to Jimmy after this? Jimmy was a bad guy, but now Jimmy can essentially sort of go babyface. Uh, but he gonna have to go through the same thing that Jay did, except for we'll see if I like Jay probably will extend the hand just because I'm like after what Sammy did with him, I think he's not going to try to harbor that ill will towards him. So I think from that standpoint, I was like, but he's still going to have to go through the same turbulation. But at the same time, Jimmy could just be still a heel, but going through all this stuff of what the Bloodline, what his brother did at the same time, being lost or something like that. It's going to be interesting to see what happens from here, just because you he's I'm like, if Solo's like this, Tonga already acting unhinged. There ain't no telling what's going to pop off, and I'm here for it. And we'll see if that comes Cody or anything like that. So anyway, rest of SmackDown. I was like, put in motion really quickly of moving on from WrestleMania, and I'm not, and that's good. Like, WrestleMania happened, and it was, we're done. Okay, cool. I was like, Cody came out, gave his little rah speech and stuff like that, and he over here like, who am I going to face? So we just basically just had like a whole big tournament where it was like it was LA Knight, Santo Escobar, Bobby Lashley, this basically that one match. LA Knight won. I figured that he will win. I was like, and I'll get to my point of like the second match was KO, Rey Mysterio, and AJ Styles, and AJ Styles won. And we're gonna get AJ Styles LA Knight again. Part of me is like, okay, whatever, because it's gonna be weird. Because I'm like, now I will say, does LA Knight get another win over AJ? Now he's over 2 over AJ, but does AJ win? But the problem is, AJ win, he gets a title shot. So therefore, it's like, okay, technically they're 1-1, but LA Knight won the WrestleMania match, but AJ Styles technically won the more important match to get the title shot. Kind of weird there. I mean, cool. I was like, I thought that with this first title match, like for instance, how I was talking about with Jay facing Damian, and I was like, I thought it would be more like Ricochet. And here I was thinking like, okay, we get Ray or we might get Escobar. Just because I'm like, the first match I was like, to me, I was like, I get you still want to make it big. You still want to make it seem like, because I was like, maybe I'm just a little bit of like the older way of like somebody that's like, it's an automatic win. Whereas like these will be people that we also think they're going, Cody and Damian going to, for instance, like beat, but it's more intrigue to it because they're the bigger names, or it's like a real rising person. I was like, Ray versus Cody. We know that Cody will win that one, and Ray, I was like, he'll, good guy and all that other stuff. So it was like, it's okay, but it'd be a good match. Santo Escobar, I was like, okay, that's intriguing because a young dude put in that spotlight. I was like, after, I was like, even though he lost, I was like, giving him a little more prominence. I was like, Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens. I was like, those are people down the line. Like, Bobby Lashley hasn't really had a title match in a while or whatever, so I think he's due. But to me, I'm like, that's something you save off because they're actually big contenders. So I was like, so I was like, you would think you put that down the road a little bit more. Whereas like LA Knight, I'm like, you want to get out the way early, or do you want to have that be something bigger? You get what I'm saying? Where it's like, cause LA Knight, Cody, that's where I feel like the crowd, as much as they love Cody, I think would actually be like, Cody, LA Knight. I think that will actually split down because he's not a heel, so he's really a babyface that people do want the title on. He's going to be, I feel like, almost what Jey Uso is, except for Jay's going against a heel, so it's not as much as the same. But either way, I was like, we know who Cody gonna win. It's just all about who's gonna be. I think Cody. I think it might be LA Knight, to be honest. I think AJ will take a loss, but I think he's just maybe down the road. I was like, but the way Cody sort of spoke him up, I could see them giving AJ and this the whole thing of like, hey, they could do the whole video package of their hit. I like not just their history matches, but them being in sort of same companies and stuff like that. Like it writes itself. But with that one, we also get we also got another one where Bayley came out, wanted to give somebody an opportunity. Tiffany Stratton comes through and was like, "Oh, like me," and then but she's like, "No, I meant Naomi." Naomi comes out, and Tiffany's like, "I already beat you," which is true. And Tiffany had a match. Naomi wins, and Naomi gets a match against Bayley next week. So also, cool there. I was like, we'll see what happens later on as far as does she get somebody at Backlash or not. But Bayley's going to win this against Naomi, and it's going to be a good showing. But from 1/3 to the other 2/3 of the big three, I guess that's what they want to call, if that's what they're calling themselves. Chelsea and Piper was on SmackDown waiting for a match. Jay comes out again, but this time it's Bianca, and they basically just run roughshod through them. I was like, I get that Chelsea, how she's supposed to be as a character, that you would run through her. But I was like, they really just sort of also did with Piper, and I was like, Piper should sort of be a little bit more. Like, I'm not saying to Bianca level or what they're trying to present with Jade. I'm just saying it should mean something when if she's over here trying to slam Piper. That's all I'm saying, other than just being like, oh, strength woman being big girl kind of thing. But she's stuck in the tag team, so that's sort of what's going to happen. And I imagine that they're going to end up getting no tag team titles at some point. We're also going to get a tag team title match at some point between, Ultimate Pain, Street Profits, New Cast Republic, and I couldn't remember the other one. I think is it Garza and Humberto, maybe. Either way, for Grayson Waller and their match, I think it's probably going to be New Cast Republic. To be honest, I think ALP and Street Profits are going to knock each other out or whatever. I'm like, we got Braun Breaker just taking out Cameron Grimes, which sort of sucks because I like Cameron Grimes a bit, but Braun Breaker is the one that they're about to push to the moon in some form. So I'm like, he's going to get he's going to get the match. Yeah, I was like, it was a smooth SmackDown, clear and cut, simple to the point. Yeah, I was wondering if we were going to get like some NXT stuff like we did with Monday Night Raw. We didn't. I was like, Cody, like he's not going to wrestle for quite a while. I thought they would try to come out and do like some workhorse type stuff with him very early, just because I was like, just because he just seems like that's his sort of character in a way, I was like, it's not too dissimilar than Seth Rollins and how it went with that championship. Cody was going to be the one that basically I'm going to do what Roman didn't do, and all that. But I was like solid SmackDown. I was like build storyline, continue storyline, and just really just keeping it going. I was like, none too crazy, too well. But except for the Solo Sikoa, I was like, man, he had to spike Jay like 5-6 times, and then he just launched him into the chair, into his like face, and Jay's gone. Probably, I wouldn't doubt if he goes on like a little mini hiatus or whatever. Maybe he go out chilling. I still want. I don't think they will. I wish they would have in some form of somehow, like they didn't do it with the Bloodline. They didn't put any women in there, but if they use Naomi in some type of way with Jimmy, like she could still do her own. She could still be on her own road and for a title match and all this other stuff, tag teams and stuff like that. But I like her actual man's right there, so it's really surprising that none of that's come through. But anyway, that was SmackDown. Bloodline out here, still keeping it going, still keeping it strong. We'll see what all these voters and whatnot, and if they do anything on Raw or anything like that, or this is going to be a SmackDown. But until then, peace.